Hello, my name is Lola Giles, and this is my Carrie presentation, the 1976 version. So, we are going to be looking at how the creators explore the power of repressed female teenage angst through tense and violent relationships between the female characters that disrupt any sense of community that they could have had and intensify their shared isolation. Some of the bigger themes that we're going to be looking at are isolation, angst, violence, community, well, the lack of community, resentment, and humiliation. We are going to briefly look at her school life. As you can see, there are groups of kids hanging out in groups with their friends. You will not see Carrie doing this at any point. She is very isolated. So, just by looking at her body language at school, we can see how much of a reserved person she is. Her hair is covering her face. She is slouched towards herself. She's covering herself with books or anything she can grab. And this isn't just her being shy, this represents her identity and her anger, which are being forced kind of inward. And she is just trying to kind of visually shrink herself to avoid attention. So, moving on to her classmates, this group of girls who could have been her friend group, they could have been the community she needed. Instead, they all want her very much isolated. They all humiliate her. She has a target in her back, and they're all going for her. So, some scenes in which we can see this isolation are this volleyball scene where all the other girls are moving with confidence. They are in the same energy, they're upbeat, they're somewhat synchronized, they're playing the game. Carrie just stands out completely visually. It shows her exclusion, not only in the game with the girls, but even just as a part of anything. She's not a part of anything, not even in the game, not even afterwards. When all the girls are walking out, they're insulting her. And this is further exemplified by the shower scene where she just got her period, she doesn't know what's going on, she's never been told about any of this. Her mother is very religious, she is very oppressed within herself, and Carrie has just not been educated on any of this that's happening to her, so she's obviously scared. In this moment where these girls could have helped her, they could have taught her, they could have been nice, offer her a tampon, explain to her how to use it, maybe a pad. They all just shout at her, they chant at her, just harassing her. And later on, as a result of this, there is one teacher, Miss Collins, who helps Carrie stand up for herself. And because this was a very aggressive, humiliating girl attack, and instead of them supporting Carrie during a vulnerable moment, the girls weaponize her embarrassment. So their cruelty creates a deep emotional wounds, and they reinforce competition rather than solidarity. So that's why the teacher, she tries to be nice, but instead just ends up punishing the girls, which creates further resentment towards Carrie. But there is one girl who does feel bad, and she asks her boyfriend to ask out Carrie to prom. And in this scene, we can see Carrie just be very shocked by this, but still very closest to herself, very closed up. She just runs away. She doesn't know how to react to this. But when she finally goes ahead and tells her mother, who we can get into now, the mother just completely shuts this idea down. She prevents Carrie from accepting this kindness, and it deepens her further into isolation. The mother, as I said, is a religious fanatic. We have some pictures here of her embracing Carrie and encouraging her to pray with her. We have a picture of the house just to see that it's a very spooky looking house. And we can also see Carrie in her prayer closet. She gets thrown in there for hours on end to pray, to think about her sins. This closet really symbolizes the isolation she feels not only at school but also at home. She's being thrown into this secluded closet. And then a really good visual that the filmmakers decided to throw in there is the Jesus statue compared to the mother's corpse. So in the prayer closet, you have this little Jesus figurine, which is very creepy looking. Carrie has spent a lot of trauma inducing moments in there with that figurine. So when she finally bursts open and lets all her anger out on her mother, she sets this really religious scene with all the candles and ends up throwing knives telepathically at her mother and poses it poses a corpse in this same pose as the Jesus figurine. Here we have an example of
And
the
God made Eve
punishments
from the rib of
that her
Adam,
mother will
and it
impose
was
on
weak, and
Carrie.
loosed the raven on the
Here
world.
she's
And
reading
the
from the
raven was
pamphlet
called sin.
The Sins of a Woman,
Said,
but she's not only
the
abusing
raven
her
was called
verbally but
sin.
also physically with the
Said,
booklet. She is throwing
the raven was
her
called sin.
gender at her face just
And
because
the
she's a
raven was
woman.
called sin.
She's committing all
And
of these
first sin
sins.
was
Poor
intercourse.
Carrie doesn't know,
First sin
and
was
she's
intercourse.
just building up all
Say
these
it.
feelings, building up all this anger. We finally get to the prom scene, and here is Carrie's time to shine. The boy who asked her out ends up taking it, and he ends up making her feel so welcome, so included in this community. He dances with her, he kisses her, they win senior king and queen. This isn't without some mockery at first from the girls. When they walk in, they laugh, and this, I mean, it's not an attack, but it's very judgmental. It's a stare, it's a giggle, it's a whisper. It's subtle, but it's still very powerful. So it does show that even though she's technically accepted, it is very conditional, it's monitored, and more than anything, it's very tense. A quote from the movie that the boy said when they were dancing, he told Carrie, "That's good as anyone else out here." And I mean, this is roughly taken from the movie, but we not only have the visual confirmation of this, but we can solidify it by this quote. We obviously know that this goes very wrong when the girls take their final move at Carrie. They dump a bucket of pig's blood on her, and this just sets Carrie off. This is the tipping point. This is enough. The guy ends up slipping and he dies. Carrie here is when she fully develops her telekinesis and she murders just about everyone. I mean, this scene is it represents everything for Carrie. The prom itself represented the one moment where she could have joined the community. Instead, the betrayal shatters that illusion completely, and Carrie responds to this emotional annihilation by physically annihilating the entire space, and it's simply a violent symbol of how isolation has finally consumed her. And to finish up, we have her beyond the grave moment when this character Sue, one of the girls who was playing her, this is after the incident. She has a nightmare where she's visiting Carrie's house, and it's almost a peaceful moment. She sheds a tear, and Carrie raises her hand from the dirt. The final image shows that the trauma caused by female conflict continues beyond Carrie's death. Isolation and violence haunt the survivors, showing the long lasting damage of those relationships. Overall, Carrie is just a victim who gets pushed around, pushed out by all the women around her, including her mother and the friends around her. Thankfully, at least someone tried, but as we could see it didn't really work out for her. Thank you for listening to me.